I would like to give myself an honorary slap in the face for believing there would be a multiverse in this movie. Spider-Man Far From Home had a lot to live up to. It had to be a good Spider-Man film, and it had to wrap up everything in Phase 3, setting up the future of the MCU. And in my honest opinion, it's a good Spider-Man movie, but I understand why people don't like it. And trust me, I'll get into my problems with it, and it's one big one for me. But as usual, the spoiler warning, it is in effect. So if you have not seen Spider-Man Far From Home, which I don't see how you couldn't, it's the highest grossing Spider-Man film of all time. But in case you have not seen it, you have been warned. But I've made so many videos talking about Far From Home now, you're kind of on your own with this one. Now let's talk about Spider-Man Far From Home. After the events of Avengers Endgame and the death of Tony Stark, Peter Parker just wants a break from the high life, and he just wants to be a kid. Also, he wants to tell MJ how he feels. So before we get officially going, I'm going to talk about my big problem with this. I was going to wait until later, but I want to just get it out the way now, because I'm going to say some pretty good things about the movie. And my big problem with this movie is the comedy. It is definitely a miss in this film. Not saying that all of it's bad. I laughed a couple times.
Did I tell you how my wife pretended to blip out? Turns out she ran off with a guy in her hiking group. We had a fake funeral for her and everything. Well, the funeral was real, but it's because I thought she was really dead. Do you want to see the video?
But some things were just lowball comedy, like his teacher, who in 2023 still carries this big-ass camera around, or Peter hitting his head on the bell tower, you know, stuff like that. Comedy that died in like 2001. Aside from that, I actually enjoyed the film and I was entertained from start to finish. For starters, all the side characters or side actors in this film do great with the material they are given, even though most of the things they are given is spitting out bad jokes 50% of the time. I like Zendaya as MJ in this movie. I didn't really mention her in the first film because she didn't do much and she didn't really have anything to do, but here she gets a lot more to do and more time to shine, and I actually like them. I like their cute, quirky relationship. Like I said, it's cute, it's quirky, and you really want them to be together. And Peter catches so many L's in this movie, it's not even funny. Seriously, fuck Brad though. I always wanted to see Nick Fury and Spider-Man team up, and I liked the small banter they had, even though it wasn't Nick Fury. Now on to the three big things I like with this film. Number one, stating the obvious, the illusion scene felt like it was ripped straight from a comic book or the Spectacular Spider-Man show. It's the selling point of the film. The visuals are amazing, and it feels like the Scarecrow dream sequences from Arkham Asylum. If you've never played that game, I recommend that you check it out. Seriously, check it out. Traumatizing Peter, and it's just such a good scene to look at. I like Jake Gyllenhaal, or Gyllenhaal, however you want to say his last name, as Mysterio. Seriously, I do. He starts out as a nice guy, and you actually feel for him, giving this crappy backstory, but you feel for him. And you don't want him to turn, but obviously if you read a Spider-Man comic, or if you've read a Spider-Man comic, or seen any form of Spider-Man media, you know he's the bad guy. But for the average audience member, it'll surprise them, so I can't complain. But I like him as the villain in this. He takes Peter's kindness and his emotions and uses it against him. Peter is emotionally wrecked in this film, and Beck uses it to get his way, and I like it. Jake's just having fun, and I'm so happy he signed on to do this film because he doesn't normally do superhero movies. So I'm glad he's just having fun. Plus he got to sit in a mocap suit for like 99% of the film. And as usual, I like Tom Holland in this film. I like him, like I said, he's emotionally wrecked in this movie and he just wants a break. But he still has a sense of responsibility, and I feel like the MCU hasn't forgotten that. They're just slightly hovering over the topic. But Tom delivers the emotion in almost every scene he's in. Peter has a lot of stress on his shoulders, and he obviously has PTSD, or panic attacks, and I wish they focused more on that and went into it a little bit more. But in the next film, hopefully we can delve deep into it a little more. I also like how the movie delves into his spider sense not working, because in case you didn't know, in Infinity War it was warning him and telling him that he was dying, and now it's kind of on the fritz. And the last couple of things I like before we conclude, I like the final battle. It actually felt like Spider-Man. It's probably the most Spider-Man thing the MCU has done with him in a while. Peter worked through the situation without his web shooters, and he took the bad guy down on his own. He's becoming his own hero, and he finally found his own footing. He's becoming Spider-Man. Come on, the director of Iron Man said he's not going to be Iron Man. What more do you need to stop calling him Iron Boy Jr.? Nah, I'm just joking. The final swing was amazing, something that I wanted in Homecoming that I didn't get, and I walked out of the movie satisfied. I was happy. And then I saw J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, and me and my entire theater just went crazy. And then the identity reveal happened, and my jaw was to the floor. I can't even tell you. Peter has been fighting for, you could say, 2 movies to keep his identity a secret, and now it's out there, and who knows what's coming next. Maybe Kraven, maybe Scorpion, and I'm looking on a big MCU scale, maybe Secret Invasion, I hope. So with that, I would like to thank you guys personally for joining me on this journey reviewing all of the Spider-Man films. I have a couple more videos planned with Spider-Man, like stuff like my fan-made stories and a bunch of other stuff. So be sure to check out the other videos in my Spider-Man movie retrospective. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more retrospectives like these in the future. I was thinking about doing DC or X-Men, maybe something else, who knows. So with that, this has been the Web Warrior, signing off.